with hilarity and opinion with Jamie, Simon and Hutch. The Newcastle Comparison, live weekly on NUFC Talk Radio, on YouTube and in all your listening platforms. NUFC Talk Radio, the voice of the Toon Army.
Good evening, morning, afternoon, depending wherever you are in the world. Welcome to NUFC Talk TV, and this is the Newcastle Comparison, which you may be listening to via podcast, or you may be speaking live on YouTube. I don't seem to have my friends in the scene in a second, so I'll just have to get Hutch and Simon up there and transition over. Hi, good evening, Simon Carhill. How are you? Merry Christmas to yourself.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Slick start. But yeah.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? It just went really smooth.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, it is some day of the week. Probably it's somewhere between Thursday and Monday, I want to say.
It's middle.
It's probably about 7 o'clock. I've had turkey sandwiches today. I've had to resort to making my own gravy because the Christmas gravy was just starting to get a bit minging. And I've eaten an entire Toblerone today as well. It's that time of year, isn't it? And welcome to Hutch, the
Hello.
Bag. Are you full of the jollity of the season, Hutch, and goodwill to all men, or are you just your usual self?
No, I am. Well, I was chipper until watching the game, which we'll get into in a bit. But I've also been eating and drinking quite a lot, and so I am quite tired. And tomorrow I've got a car ride up to Edinburgh and then on to Dundee. So looking forward to that.
Wow. So, like, between us, we are putting together the various elements of Alan Partridge's mental breakdown, aren't we? I've eaten an entire Toblerone today. You're driving to Dundee. Simon, are you in bare feet?
Yeah, absolutely. No, unfortunately not. But I was just putting the pieces together on that. I'm just thinking, once again, we're bringing Alan Partridge to our podcast. So there's a bit of a theme going on. But yeah, no, sadly.
Yeah. So, yeah, either way, it's at some point between Christmas and 2026. And as Hutch really smoothly transitioned into there, Newcastle have just kind of not done too well at Old Trafford. Yet another away disappointment. It wasn't the worst away performance I think we've seen. I'm open to disagreement on that, but I don't think it was as bad as Sunderland, Brentford or West Ham or possibly Brighton. But that Man United team was bobbins, wasn't it? What do you think, Hutch, between African Nations Cup and injuries and playing people out of position and stuff? We should have beat them, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I think the biggest disappointment was the fact that they were so threadbare, really, with their squad. I mean, Ugarte and Casemiro as a midfield, and then playing 4-4-2, which was effectively a 4-4-1-1. So the first time that Ruben Amorim has played a back four, and then it's like, well, we controlled the game. If that's what, because that's what basically like the, you know, I mean, I listened to the pod on the time today, and that's what they were saying, you know, like reasons to be optimistic. We controlled the game, we controlled the ball and all the rest of it. And yet we were naff. We were absolutely crap. We conceded a crappy goal. We didn't really create anything. And everything that we did create was just a load of pants, exception being to Lewis Hall, who actually did have a decent strike off the crossbar.
It was outstanding all day. And you're seeing there we controlled the game, but did Man United not just let us have the ball because they knew the goal threat was slim to none? Simon, you were nodding along there?
Some of their substitutions were bonkers in the second half. It felt like they just were bringing on people to rest people in the team. It was madness, and we absolutely dominated that second half. It was ridiculous. I think I sent you guys a stat afterwards. We slung in like 48 crosses or something like that, and we had 3 shots on target in the entire match.
Wow.
Like, if that's not a Christmas hangover, I've never seen anything else like it. It was so frustrating to watch. You're right, Lewis Hall seemed to be our bright spark again from left back, and everybody else just seemed to be having an off day. Lewis Miley, like, I know he's filling in there at right back. It's not his long-term position. I don't think he offers much of an attacking threat on the right, which is fair enough because he's 19 and a central midfielder, so you can't hold him at fault for that. But did a great job defensively. I just thought the second, the first half, I thought, oh, here we go. They're just gonna do a Man United away, and that's us done. And we don't win from losing positions this season. But the second half, we dominated, and it was like something's got to break for us here. It just didn't, and we were just marshalled out of the game. They did, some of the. If you can defend any of it, like they did play 8 at the back for 40 minutes of the second half, pretty much. Like they were not trying to attack at all in the second half, and their substitutions kind of showed that as well. I know Zerke came on, but he didn't offer very much. But
did you see that stat as well, that they being Man United haven't lost a game where they've been leading at half time since something like the mid 1980s, which is a crazy statistic. I think it meant at Old Trafford, but it was something like that. And then I will run out for the second half, and you think these do not look like record breakers here.
No, they look so bang average. And I know that there were probably. I switched it off immediately after the match finished.
Obviously, that's what you should do, everybody. If anyone out there is going through the masochistic process of watching what was, quite frankly, a Man U heavy panel hosted by someone who's on the Sunderland board, talking about yet another Newcastle defeat, then, well, you need to be doing other things with your Christmas.
Yeah, I didn't want to hear them ranting and raving about Dorgu. He's not he's not great. He's not a Man United legend, but I imagine there was singing his praises afterwards, and I just didn't want to hear it. Nobody wants to hear that.
He fell over a lot, didn't he? I think there was about 3 occasions where he just went down and feigned a head injury, and the ref stopped play with us, basically probably about to score a definite goal.
No, we weren't. No, we weren't. Let's not even pretend this. Right? We can claim bias for the fact that the referee was in fact from Greater Manchester. All we like, we were not going to score in that game because we were crap.
We were crap, but because it's coming. We know it's coming. The how out conversation. We know we're about to talk about it. And Jamie, stop me if you're about to take this in a different direction. But before we get into that how out conversation, you've got to say that people in those players are not performing as they should do for the level that they are at. No. So, Anthony Gordon, who was our bright spark in our Champions League runs, has been our most creative player for the past couple of seasons, is not firing, and then the rest of it is just people in and out of form at the wrong time, playing half a good game and half a bad game, and then you've got the likes of Voltemade being thrown into the mix time and time again, asking to do something that he doesn't seem to be able to do in the Premier League, which is win headers from crosses in the box consistently. He looks like a player who wants the ball to feet. That's where he wants to play football, and he seems most comfortable. Although he did that poorly against Man United because he kept holding onto it for too long. And the one good thing I've seen from Wissa is he flicks. He gets it, he flicks it, or if he can, he flicks it first time. Voltemade wants to play.
No, but to be fair, Simon, right? Voltemade does want it to feed, and he does want to play it off. But there's no one about him. When in the second half, when we were getting desperate, and Whistle was doing those flicks on, people were close around him. One of the reasons why Anthony Gordon is not performing as well as he should be is because he's stuck out on the wing when he's an inside forward. He should be closer to Voltemade. But because we're basically playing this formation where we've got these underlapping wing-backs rather than overlapping wing-backs, he has to go further out. That's where Murphy does his best football. It is not where Gordon does his best football. But then it works best for Lewis Hall playing in that role. So it's what is the answer there? what is the solution?
I think Lewis Hall can do
It feels-
both, mind.
You need a different formation, don't you? I think that's what everybody's saying. Like you need to shake it up, and I think we said last week if you get Voldemort and Wissa on the pitch at the same time, that might work out. But I don't know if he'll do it. He just seems married to that 4-3-3, doesn't he? And nothing can change.
He likes those little triangles on the wing. So like the number 8, the whoever it is, and then your winger, and then your fullback, and those interactions there. But that is literally our go-to thing. And when it doesn't work, you just change the wingers and hope that it works with different wingers. Now, it probably worked better with Isak because Isak and Gordon could interact and, Isak played off the wings. Voldemort doesn't do that because he's not quick enough and it's not his game.
Yeah, Isak can come across and get involved, can he?
Yeah. So it just doesn't work with Voldemort and he hasn't changed it. But as you say, it could work with Wissa, but we never know because he makes the same predictable substitutions all of the time.
Yeah. The formation that you could change it to, and I saw someone post this earlier somewhere, I can't remember, was 4-2-3-1.
Beautiful research, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we're all about.
I love that you've
quality research, yeah.
So, sorry, just in case, because people who are listening to this as a pod might not have got that. So you saw it written down somewhere by person or persons unknown.
Yeah.
Probably on the internet.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, just to be clear. Yeah. It's
pause and go back if they didn't get that first.
I've looked deep into
it. Do you want to say on X and then we'll prostitute ourselves for some form of sponsorship from Elon Musk?
I can just steal it completely,
Steal it completely?
Yeah.
Why not?
Is 4-2-3-1 with Wissa being the number 9 up front, Voldemort being in the middle of the 3, and then 2 wingers and Tonali and Bruno, and whatever defence is fit behind them.
Yeah.
So that gives us the opportunity to play Voldemort and Wissa together, but you're asking a lot of Bruno and Tonali maybe from a defensive perspective.
But then you're also asking those 2 strikers to play every single game between now and
that's the other thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's a lot of games as we've touched on it, and we'll come to the schedule in a bit. But I think there's a lot that's disappointing about that, isn't there? There's the fact that it was there for the take, and the fact that I think we've conceded a disappointing goal again. But mainly for me, the worst part is that after 5 wins out of the last 6 games, we've lost to Man United, who are a hateful bunch of terrible pricks, and always will be. And probably the team that I dislike most because of who the team is. Like, you dislike Sunderland because of it's genetic, isn't it? It's sort of bred into you, and it's a rivalry. But Man United, I mean, I think there's so many scars there because, that title in 96 and then finishing runners up them in 97 and losing the cup final in 99 and the League Cup final a few years ago and the FA Cup semi-final, and just so many disappointments, the Andy Cole business. And throughout all of that, and I'm sure you'll have experienced this, Simon, growing up in Cambridge, but, for anyone outside of the northeast area, you'd get people who, supported Man United and who would vehemently be in your face. And when I was at university, I got it from people from all over the place. And it's always somebody who's got absolutely nought going for them, you know what I mean? Who's like, that they're not the smartest and not on any of the teams. And, if they're not particularly successful in the world of love. But the one thing they've got on you is they support Man United, and Man United will beat your team a couple of times a season. And you just think, true greatness comes from within. Focus on you if you want to mug someone off for not being as good as you. Don't just sort of stick a red badge on you. And just year on year on year, you've got all those beatdowns. And now we're in a phase where they're a bin fire, aren't they? And you should be beating them, and we should have beat them the other day. And that's what annoyed me. Like, well, loads of things annoyed us, let's be honest. It's kind of a melting pot of annoying feelings and like lower depression as step by step. But just the fact it was them and the fact that I nearly went there.
That's the thing about Man United at the moment. They're a team of kind of nobodies. Like there's no big names in that team. There's players trying to make their name, sure, but you've got like a very second or third rate Bruno in there, who's their captain, and he's not a very good captain. Let's be honest. Like he's a whingy, like diminutive little.
Well,
pest.
He's the best player, isn't he?
Which says something. Which says
it's normally something to do with him.
Yeah, exactly. And look, like you're right. I did grow up down south. I grew up in a time when Man United were dominant, and I became a fan of Newcastle just after that period you're talking about, and going into the early 2000s, and then when I came up to university and started like watching them regularly. But the sense of entitlement from that period of dominance from Man United just stuck around. And even when Chelsea are winning titles, Man United thought they deserved to be winning the league still. And I don't think they've lost that sense of entitlement. I was lucky because one of my best mates is a Man United fan, and he's one of the rare ones that is humble and doesn't believe they're going to win every game. So I was kind of lucky on that front. But then when you go wider than that, oh God, yeah, just the amount of people in London who get up for a Man United game, it's just, yeah, it's just that this period now, nobody wants them to do well, because they were not humble during the period when they did do well. And I think that there's nobody who, from a neutral perspective, who wants them to get out of this situation they're now in.
One of the greatest moments of Sky Sports Telly over the last 10 years is when Gary Neville had that complete malfunction, and he just kept saying, "This is Manchester United," over and over again.
Yeah.
Like,
I think he hates them now. he seems to have given up now to some degree. Like he's expecting them to do badly, which is great.
I'm sure he didn't give up. Not that I know, but I'm sure he didn't give up yesterday, talking about how bloody brilliant they were. And even though, frankly, it was our inability to score that.
Did you see the bit where he excused their handball because it was all
because
right?
He was pushing him.
Was that the Martinez one where he like catches it in his hands and then throws it away?
He said, "Oh, he's going to get away with it because he's pushing Thou. He's using his hands to push and I'm like, well, so what? So you can do something wrong as long as you're doing something else wrong as well.
Two wrongs don't make a right. They don't.
They do in Old Trafford.
They do at Old Trafford, yeah. Especially if the ref's a Man United fan.
I'll tell you what, right? It's quite early for jumping into this, but let's do our little team comparison thing, right? So,
I don't even want to, because we know what the answer is.
I think we do, don't we? And then this is the problem here. Where are they? Man United. It should be quite a short one. This I've just outlined how much I hate them, right? And we've been through, how many teams have we done? So basically, we've got to make this audible for anyone who doesn't have visuals for this. So we take all the clubs in the Premier League, and as we come across them in matches, we categorise them all into one of 6 categories: worldwide, super club, massive club like Newcastle, a big club, a medium club, a small club, and a tin pot club. And so at the moment, we've got Brentford as tin pot, Fulham and Burnley as small, nobody in medium yet. West Ham and Sunderland as big clubs, Newcastle, Everton and Tottenham as massive. And we've got Man City and Chelsea as worldwide. And there's no doubt here, is there? I mean, Hutch, would you say anything other than worldwide?
No, they are a worldwide bunch of wankers, unfortunately.
Simon, are they the biggest club in England?
Yeah. Oh, are they? Yeah.
It's all Liverpool.
Bugger. Yeah. I think they're the second highest revenue club in the world behind Real Madrid, or maybe the third. They are worldwide.
They're sometimes top of that list, aren't they? I think it fluctuates slightly depending on how everybody's done in the Champions League and things.
Yeah.
But they're always thereabouts. But But no, like nobody denies that it's a super club, and anything that happens in World Football League wouldn't be part of it. I think just during the Ferguson years, they just made themselves so intolerable in that status, and that's not just bitterness because they beat Newcastle to a lot of trophies, but they did things like they would disrespect internationals. They wouldn't release, players for international friendlies, and you've heard a lot about how there was a sort of Man United v Liverpool rivalry when the England squad got together that they fostered. They disrespected the League Cup. They were the first team to stop playing their first 11 in, which I will come back to later. They disrespected the FA Cup. They actually dropped out of it one year to play in a World Club Cup, and started playing lesser teams. And basically, the sort of sense of, I think it was you said entitlement, Hutch, about them, or was it Simon? They've just always been just a dreadful, horrible club, and like that defeats sort of Smart a bit more because of that, I think.
Agree.
Am I just a bit bitter?
No, it was that awful. It was the season before last where they kicked us out of Europe for.
Oh yeah.
Just annoying things like that. That just only seems to happen at Man United. Oh yeah.
Do you know what though? I think at the time that stunk because you're on about them winning the FA Cup and we.
That's right. Yeah, beating Man City where they had no right to.
Oh, I think it was a bit.
Jamie's, sorry, Jamie, just to interrupt. I think what you're talking about is things like Project Big Picture, where basically, they try to set the revenue so that the clubs of the lower leagues would be happy with it. But it also massively benefited them because they were one of the top earning clubs. They also were probably quite influential in getting PSR kicked off. Things like that, basically, where, they will benefit from the financial regulations on the basis that they already make loads of money from, the ridiculous number of contracts that they signed during the Ferguson era and have managed to keep going. And then also because of they were previously in Europe every single season. So that revenue gap that they basically created between the rest of the league and themselves, and notably a few others. And then they kind of dominate the Premier League through things like that rather than the individual gripes that we've got, of them kicking us out, turning up and performing once per season and somehow managing to kick us out of Europe, despite the fact that they nearly got knocked out in the semi-final by, was it a Championship club?
It was Coventry. They should have been knocked out. It was one of those horrible offsides where where they go looking for it after the goal's been given on the pitch and determine he was a sort of couple of millimetres off. But what I was going to say was there's a bit of serendipity because I believe without that result, we would have been in the Conference League, and I think that would have overloaded our squad, as we're seeing this year. We'd have found some massively Newcastle way to fudge up the Conference League by losing in the semi-final to Slavia Prague or something. And because of the pressure that put on our season, we wouldn't have won the League Cup and we wouldn't have qualified for the Champions League. And I'm just going to come to a comment here from Adrian Pickett, where he has rightly pointed out that they did us a solid on the last day of last season when we were rather pathetic against Everton, losing at home to Everton, which is another one that stings. And they beat Aston Villa to send us into the Champions League. Now, while I'm eternally grateful for that, and I felt really quite positive towards Manchester United that night, I would say after the whole history of Man United, them getting us that Champions League place last season, after the way Man United and Newcastle have been for the last 20 years, is the equivalent of Thanos having clicked his fingers and wiped out half the population of Earth, then leaving everybody a little box of celebrations before he buggered off back to Hutch. I bet you know what planet Thanos is from.
I haven't got a clue.
Well, do your bloody research, man. Jesus, we sound like a bunch of amateurs. I think if they do us another 5 trillion favours in the next few years, we might just about be even, but
But fair
He was
point,
from
Adrian.
Titan.
Fair point, Adrian. Yeah, absolutely.
He was from Titan,
He was from
the
Titan.
planet of Titan. Yeah,
Because he
I
was
should have known that.
he was the Mad
Titan.
Titan, wasn't he?
right.
Tangent,
okay,
different
right.
podcast, different podcast.
Are we going off on yet another tangent? All right. Okay. Do you think it was random when he clicked his... No, never mind. So anyway, overall, I think a double disappointment as well, because we've had to do that thing where, and I think it's the first time in a while where we've played on Friday night, and then we've had to sit here through Saturday, through Sunday, and watch everybody who took any points catch us up or go further ahead of us. We're now 14th in the table, which is pretty wank. 6 points off the top 5 still, which just that always seems to be there, and we never seem to be able to close it. And but like I said earlier, our mate went down there and he had a real sort of struggle in terms of what does he do? Does he drive over and have to drive back through the middle of the night, and he ended up getting a hotel and basically having a bit of a random night out on his own. And I think a lot of people will have had similar struggles like that. I want to take my son because this weekend's dead. This weekend between Christmas and New Year, nothing ever happened. You kind of sit in the house, feeling a bit bloated, watching the new episodes of Stranger Things and eating chocolate. And I'd have been up for a trip to Old Trafford with my boy, but they nosed it again. And it's an awkward spot, innit? We've been there before. I mean, you guys probably remember that time we went there on the hottest day of the year and took our big coats.
Well, it is the other side of the Pennines.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It normally rains there, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
But the transport links
bad
from
for these
Manchester
things.
City Centre are there. Difficult. And we ended up walking along a dual carriageway or something, didn't we?
Yeah, it was a sweaty walk back to find a half decent pub. Luckily, we had your a friend of yours as a guide, didn't we, to find a decent drinking spot on the way.
I mean, I don't know.
We have to apologise to this friend after this now, aren't we?
Can you find us a pub? Yeah.
This particular friend, if brains were wood, you'd still need a tinder box to start a fire in his head. So, like, he ended up making us walk about half an hour down the side of a dual carriageway with a thick coat under our arms in about 25-degree heat. And you ended up having to go for a little lie down, didn't you, David? And
I got sunstroke.
no,
in Manchester.
In Manchester. And we should have won that game as well.
Yeah, we should have won that one.
It was 0-0. We ended up, the season we went down under McLaren. And in the last minute, there was that bit where it was like Cisse had the ball, he had a choice between shooting or squaring, and he did neither. He sort of put it through the middle.
Tharvin was waiting in the middle, wasn't he? Couldn't reach it. Yeah.
And we thought 0-0 was a decent result, but then we went on to get a lot of crap results and end up in the championship.
That was very much a sliding doors moment as well for Tovan's Premier League career, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I reckon if he'd scored that, he'd have become a hero overnight. Probably done well for us. It just never happened.
He's still playing well for someone now.
Well, we've been through this, haven't we? He's still making the French squad.
Yeah, we said the other week. But I think that was his debut. And if you score the winner against Man United at Old Trafford on your debut, that maybe sets you alight a little bit, doesn't it? Or else he's a quiz question. What player scored the winner against Manchester United on his Premier League debut at Old Trafford, then went on to do absolutely sod bugger all in the whole entire rest of his Premier League career? I don't know. So,
if the question was St James's Park, surely the answer is David Edgar.
Hang on. What?
Was that the winner? I'm sure it was.
No, I don't know if he won that game.
I think he scored an equaliser once.
He did,
but I don't think it was his debut.
Yeah.
It was a daisy cutter from about 50 million yards. Yeah.
More poor research. Right. So, very disappointing against Man United. We've we've kind of touched on it a little bit then about the future for Eddie Howe. I think we said earlier that this sort of the chagrin is growing a little bit. If you look at the social media and stuff, people are well aware this isn't good enough. I said earlier, I think it was a better performance in Sunderland, Brentford, West Ham, but it was still way below par. And that thing of Man United letting us have the ball, we don't know how to attack. Some of the passing is sloppy and pathetic. The final ball is a disgrace, and it feels like we need a new formation that he just won't put in. And then you seem to be getting that sharp contrast with how well Aston Villa are doing, coming back from a goal down at Stamford Bridge, and Emery changes it up in a way that changes the game. And you said before, how does this like for like stuff? I've got a little visual ahead, but just quickly, kind of, how do you think things look now with Howe? Do you think is it the end and moving towards the end, or is it potentially still a blip?
I'll go first. I don't think the players in that team are performing in a way that Howe's satisfied with. I know the majority of people who probably watch this channel and most of the sport are probably thinking it's coming towards the end, but there's something going on where the key players in that squad aren't performing. Your Tonali's, so I think there's two main problems: the ever-changing defence and the fitness issues in defence, and key players not performing in the positions how they have, and also players fading. So we don't have an enforcer like Joe Linton, which works so well for the past 3 seasons, which leaves us a gap in midfield that Miley, Willock, and Ramsey just aren't filling at the moment. So you've got Tonali and Bruno holding that midfield together, and then you've got an attack that isn't clicking. So you've got Gordon out form, Voltemada, who's carrying the attack at the moment in a position that might not be his best position. And then this ever-changing right wing with Jacob Murphy trying to push up a level and Alanga not hitting the level that he should be for 60 million. So I think there are a lot of problems on the pitch. And then the other side of how the organisational changes that have happened in the past 2 seasons that haven't helped the direction of the club. Howe isn't responsible for all of that, but there is some faults in the way that he's handling some of these games. But I don't think it's Howe out time yet. No, I think he has the opportunity to turn it around.
No, would it done?
No. Okay. Sorry.
No.
TLDR. No.
No. So yeah, you are putting quite a little bit of blame on the players there, I think, which is fair enough. It's a factor, but I do think there's a lot of tactical stuff. Hutch, what do you think?
I am slowly edging towards it, but then I have been here before, like where things seem to go wrong, he doesn't seem to be able to find a fix, and then all of a sudden one game comes along and, you know, we seem to be playing much better. I kind of agree with Simon to a certain degree. Lots of players aren't playing very well. Like Tonali gave the ball away a lot against Man United. He's been doing that quite a lot recently. And then, you know, the new signings, Voltemada, I'm not going to scapegoat him because I think he's doing really well for the position that he's been asked to play, and you know he's basically scored most of our goals. But the Ramsdale has been a failed experiment in goal. I think I would prefer Nick Pope back. I also, however, I don't know what Ramsey is other than a like for like of Joe Willock, but not a good Joe Willock. I mean, I can't get it out of my head that, you know, when he was running through on goal, seemed to be about to take a shot and then just landed on his face. It was almost a Joe Linton kicks the ball off his head moment. He just seemed no pressure whatsoever, and he just fell on his face.
He did.
It's one of those moments that makes you wonder about, has there been some sort of match fixing going on here? Like his mates his mates have like had a bet on him doing an impression of Norman Wisdom on the pitch, and he's done that in the penalty area. Because at first, when he went over, you thought, "Ooh, has someone clipped his heels?" And then you had a look. There's nobody near him, and he just sort of fell over like Mr. Blobby.
He did, yeah. It was comical.
Wait, I wasn't laughing.
At the end of last season, right? We were talking about this in the pub, and I think I said at that time that it was kind of like an end of an era for this team, and I don't think we've like replaced enough of them. We could have got potentially quite a lot of money for some of those players who just aren't performing now. Like you kind of suspected at the end. I mean, to be fair, he came on and did quite well, but Joe Linton has looked a bit crocked now. I know he's being linked now to Saudi Arabia, but he's not being fit to do the kind of things that we need him to do.
Can I just say on that point, just one of the things I cheered most in the second half was Joe Linton coming on and kicking someone up into the air in his first minute on the pitch. Yeah. I thought, yes, Big Joe, that's what we want. That's what we need. That is the old Joe Linton. And I think that has been a big miss for us.
Yeah. I think it's got its place, definitely. And you'd hope he can... That's maybe the factor, the Joe Linton factor, because I would say you've got him, you've got Nick Pope, Fabian Schär, Kieran Trippier, who've all been brilliant players for us over the years, but through age and time and the evolution of the Premier League, they're kind of either not available enough, not good enough, or a little bit of both. Like we saw with Callum Wilson last season. And
I think as well, there's a risk as well that some of them now start to tarnish like the reputation that they have. The team they're the team that won us our first cup in 70 years. And now it's like we're having a really shit season.
Well,
okay.
You got to think like
first of all, I'm gonna give you a yellow card here. That was not our first cup in 70 years because the first cup was a major trophy. Stop spouting muck and propaganda and media lies, right? It was our first trophy in 56 years. We won Europe's second most sought after trophy before that.
It was our first trophy since we won the championship. That's right. Yep. For the second time.
See, now
if you want to get if you want me to be pedantic,
don't poke the bear. We haven't got time. We've only got an hour because it will go on.
He's being a bollock though, isn't he? He knows fine well what I mean. Just like we know, right?
Teams like Wrexham would love to win the championship. That's what they call success.
Yeah,
teams like Wrexham. And you're right. Winning the championship is great in itself, but like. It's not the point, is it? We all know that we've won every single second-rate trophy going. The European Conference League, I don't care what anyone says, that has our name on it. Between now and it becoming defunct in about 10 to 15 years' time, Newcastle United will win it. But let's not do the first cup down, right? It was a great moment in our history. The Markhams are jealous, and it shouldn't be spoken about with anything other than reverence. Right. What were we on about? Quantum Leap?
So
that was last week. Yeah. Great show.
No, so I'm not there yet. I still think he can turn it around. Again, Paul and the Tyne references today, we're still in the Champions League. We're in another semi-final of the Cup, the League Cup. We're still in the FA Cup because we haven't actually played yet. It could be a good season. But, if you're kind of relying on the cups for it to be a good season, then it's going to be a really squeaky bum time.
And what I'd say, right, the way that I've always dealt with seasons, whether they're going well or not, is to kind of compartmentalise it, because you've sort of got to do it like that, I think. And what I'd say is a crumb of comfort to everybody, in a way, is that the next month has real potential. So I don't have a visual for this, but the next 8 games that Newcastle have, we have Burnley away, we have 6 home games, and we have Wolverhampton away. Burnley and Wolves are the bottom 2 in the Premier League. And even with our appalling away form and generally brittle confidence, they should be games that we are at least favourites to win, even if things go Pete Tong. 6 home games. The home record is good. We haven't lost in months at St James, and we've got some winnable games there. So after Burnley away, we've got Crystal Palace at home, who seem to be falling apart. We've got Leeds at home, who are getting better, but it's still a newly promoted team from the bottom third of the league. We've got Bournemouth in the FA Cup, which I think is a game that you need to put the strongest possible team out for, because the FA Cup could be all we have in a bit of time. We have PSV in the Champions League, and we have Man City in the League Cup. So Man City is obviously a tough game. PSV will be a challenge. But if we could get a good result that keeps the League Cup alive, which I would say has to be a win, and we'll come to nearer the time. If we can get a good result that keeps the Champions League looking positive, and if we can pick up, the final game is Aston Villa, which is tough, but we tend to beat them at home, and that's the last game of this little spell. So by the time we get to that point, at the end of January, when we go to PSG for the last Champions League game, if we've got positive progress in the semi-final, 4th round of the FA Cup, and I would say if we've picked up 12, 13 points, then suddenly everything looks a lot better. But there's a lot of pressure on that, because we should win all those league games. Villa's a tough one, but all the others we should be winning. We should probably beat Bournemouth with home advantage, and we should probably beat PSV. So the tricky one is City and keeping the League Cup alive. If we can do that, then I think suddenly it puts a better perspective on things, and it's a chance to grow a bit of confidence. But if it's kind of a no-win situation, because if you do all that, and I'm sure people will start thinking, yeah, things are going well and feeling positive, but it'll be in your mind that they're all games that we should have won, whereas the bum's rush might be coming because February is not so kind. And
it is not.
I thought you had February there, Simon.
No, sorry. I'll chuck it in 2 seconds. But yeah, it's it gets very difficult after that run of fixtures. So we've got PSG, obviously away on Wednesday the 28th, and then 2 seconds, and then we've got a hideous run essentially. So let me just add this here. Sorry, 2 seconds. So then we've got a hideous run. So the Saturday after PSG, we've got Liverpool away, a Saturday night's fixture, which, let's face it, is going to be a little bit toxic. Luckily, our man has suffered an injury, unluckily for him, as we were discussing in our moral debate last week. We then have City away in the second round of the League Cup. So depending on how the first round went, that may or may not be a very depressing fixture. We then got Brentford at home, who unfortunately is still doing all right at the moment. We've then got Spurs away. Now, Spurs could be anything, as we know from our previous fixtures with them, but we seem to do quite well against them. But then we've got City away again on Saturday the 21st. So that period... Sorry, go on.
There's a couple of bits to put in there as well. So, as you can see, there's a bit of a gap between those games, right? If we get the 4th round of the FA Cup, that will be on Saturday the 14th or thereabouts. If we're in the playoff round of the Champions League, that will be in the midweek, either side of that Man City game. So realistically, depending on how things go, you've got 5 away games there and Brentford at home. That could be as many as 7 away games and only Brentford at home. And we do not like away.
No. And that period you were talking about before PSG becomes massively important for the season, because at the end of this period, we could be in all sorts of bother. So, yeah, it's a huge January, as I think some people in the chat have been saying, and then onto a very rough February as well, with plenty of big games coming up. So whatever the issues are with the squad and the players, and what's kind of the issues are at the moment, we need this period from now until end of January to turn that around.
It's basically decides house future for me, because if we do well in that January period and don't do so well in February, it might be that the league position isn't horrible and we can still continue and win the cups. If you lose most of those games but get through to the 5th round of the FA Cup, you've got something you can hang your hat on.
Yeah.
If we throw points away in January, it's only going to get worse then, isn't it? You know you're coming into a period where points are going to be extremely hard to come by.
Yeah.
And then, conversely, if we win all those games in January, that might give a bit of confidence in you can do things like beating Liverpool. I would suggest the Man City tie needs to be won at St James. We need to go to the Etihad with something to defend. I think you'd want your absolute head looking at if you went to that game if Newcastle have lost the first leg with anything other than an intention to get very, very drunk. But it's kind of, I think January's a chance to course correct, and then February's there to survive, and then it may be you come to March and you're either putting all your eggs into one basket, which would likely be the FA Cup, or maybe we'll be in the League Cup final. And and when the competitions expire, that's it.
Well, let's face it though, right? Football is all about the moment. So it might be that we get to the end of January and everything is doom and gloom. Or it could be we get to the end of January, we're in a good position. Those teams are starting to, falter. And we might look at it completely different. But at the present moment in time, having just lost to Manchester United with what was a shocking performance, it is looking doom and gloom. But, that's football. That's football, lads.
And I think that's it, because it does feel bad at the minute. It may feel bad then, but I think you've got to take decisions at the right time. And the right time for this decision is going to be once this season's run its course. And that might even be mid-February. Could just be we're playing for positions in the middle of the table. I don't know.
Can I just point out, right, that Wazza has put in the chat, we play the under-18s for the PSG game, if possible. I would massively disagree with that, because if there is any chance whatsoever that we can get top 8 and not play an additional 2 games, then that is what we have to do.
That's true. I suppose you've got to offset that against everything else going on. I think if we win the Man City home leg sort of 2-1, that makes you feel like a very, very big game that's coming around the corner. If we're still in the FA Cup and we've got a tough 4th round tie, that it's just all loaded up for February. And you've got to think, what is the feasibility of getting top 8 as well? You'd imagine if we beat PSV, a couple of the results go our way, it might be. And then you've got what position PSG are in as well. That they maybe won't have much to play for and they might be beatable. You've also got to remember, which we covered a couple of weeks ago, that it's worth your while finishing in the top half of the playoffs, so between 9th and 16th place, to get home advantage in the second leg, which I think is quite important when it comes to these European knockout ties. So I guess big times ahead is what we're seeing. It's disappointing to lose to Man United, to draw with Chelsea, but the coming month, any defeats will be really unacceptable, I think. Unless we go down fighting against City. Right. Should we go into a bit of a comparison then, seeing as how that's what we do? Obviously, super chats are open, and like and subscribe and all that stuff, because we haven't said that yet, but that'd be lovely if you could, if you haven't already. And we'll take on board any comments in relation to this. But what we do is we look back at history a little bit and try and offer a slightly different perspective. So this week, we're looking back at Newcastle United's Boxing Day achievements or otherwise. And by Boxing Day, we mean any weekend in the period just after Christmas. Did you see the stat that on Boxing Day itself, Newcastle had the worst losing record in the entire Premier League with 16 defeats?
I was going to bring that up actually. So since I've had a season ticket, there's been 16 Boxing Day fixtures and we've won 3 of them. So it's not a rich period for points for us. So I struggle to find positives, but I found one.
Were any of those in the Championship?
I'll tell you.
More top
Give
research.
me a sec. Oh yeah, well, I can tell you. Give me a sec. Yes.
You do. Right. So yes, there was.
Oh no, there was one. It was a draw against Sheffield Wednesday.
Well, that's not a win, is it?
No, sorry. I thought you were saying not a defeat. But yeah.
Well, as I am the miserable one, I came thoroughly prepared with a win, actually, because I was a bit disappointed. And so I decided to go for one of the 3 wins. And I went for Newcastle United versus Stoke City on Boxing Day, December 2013. Now, I was there. You were there. It was a pain in the ass to get to because metros, etc., were off. And it was hilarious, this game, because we won 5-1. There was a 5-minute interval period. I say period, it wasn't an interval, but there was a 5-minute period where Stoke had 2 red cards. Do you want to deal with that quickly before I move on?
No, keep going.
No, go on.
Stoke had 2 red cards. We had a penalty. The penalty was then saved. And then we scored anyway.
From the rebound?
No. It was saved, knocked away, and then we came back. And Loic Remy, who took the penalty and had it saved, then smashed it and it was deflected into the net. So we were at one point losing 1-0 until these 2 dismissals, which were Whelan for a second yellow card on Kabay. And the challenge happened right in front of the dugout, and Mark Hughes went absolutely off it because he didn't think it was a yellow card. Mark Hughes got sent off. Then 3 minutes later, Vernon Anita rolled in. I think it was Remy, but it might have been Gouffran. And then Wilson, straight through him, chopped him down. Second red card, penalty. And then the second half was just a series of either goals or it was basically attack versus defence. Ben Arthur smashed the crossbar but didn't score. Cisse scored a pen, Kawhi, Remy scored again, and then of course Johan Gouffran scored. And I love Johan Gouffran. So that's why I chose that one.
If anyone doesn't remember Stoke City in the Premier League, that game pretty much sums it up, doesn't it? Just going around smashing into people, giving away penalties. Mark Hughes probably wouldn't have thought it was a foul if anyone ever saw Mark Hughes play because he went around taking people out at knee height. Thanks to Wazza for his super chat comment. He's exactly right. We're going down the rabbit hole just to cheer up. And I think brilliant start because nobody expected Hutch to say anything cheerful.
Must be Christmas.
But yeah, Stoke City are one of those teams, weren't they? Where they came up and occasionally you see it on the internet where people will put their favourite Premier League teams into a Premier League like all time top 20 teams, and occasionally people put Stoke in there, and I just think, are you mad?
Yeah,
absolutely insane for putting Stoke City in your favourite Premier League list of teams.
They're hanging around the promotion picture again at the minute, aren't they? And like Stoke's one of them places as well, I think, where they still throw bricks and bottles at you for being an away fan when you try to make your way in. So we don't want that. I'd imagine if we go to Coventry, the only offensive thing that will happen there will be the home fans' accents. But Kenny's saying we got Hosselu from Stoke, so it's not all bad. Hosselu, European champion. But yeah, Simon, do you want to go then with your memory? Are you going to tarnish it because everyone's mood just lifted ever so slightly?
No, I've got another positive one.
At least we're not stuck.
And there is some relevance for this one as well. So Boxing Day is a bit of an anomaly for me because my family obviously live south of the Tyne, quite far south. So around this time of year, I'm normally in a car driving somewhere or driving back from somewhere. So I don't tend to get to many Boxing Day games, but this one was away anyway. It was down south in Leicester and we won 3-0. So this is back in 2022. And again, it was a rare win on the list of Boxing Days since I've had my season ticket. But yeah, it was a 3-0, and it was on the during that season, obviously, our run to the Cup and our run into the Champions League for the first time under Howe's leadership as well. So it was what we were known for and what got us to where we were. It was just an archetype of how we played back then. So lots of pressure, opened with a penalty scored by Chris Woodinho, who went on to be a Brazilian-style player for Notts Forest. And then a goal for a red-hot winger at that time. Almiron, yeah. And these are the kind of things that we're... And then, obviously, a massive headed goal from Joe Linton as well. And this was like prime Joe Linton. He kind of kicked 5 people out of the way just to get anywhere near the goal and then smashed in a header. And there's a great photo here, which I'll share in the group as well. But yeah, this game was kind of everything that we are not at the moment, which is pressuring teams into mistakes like penalties, having a red-hot winger, and having a prime Joe Linton to kick people and then also score goals like this. To be fair, this is a very un-Joe Linton goal, I think, in some regards. Like,
to score with his head.
Exactly, yeah. As for anybody that was at Rotherham away in the FA Cup, Rochdale away in the FA Cup, will remember as well.
I'm just going to address all listeners here. Now, we don't do a great deal of preparation for this program. Apparently, it's obvious. But I do send out a little crib sheet and I say, try and think of a game. And last week, I said that my only instruction was do a pre-Christmas game, not a Boxing Day game. And Hutch did Leicester City away 3-0 on Boxing Day 2022. And the...
Oh, has Jamie paused at that moment? Tell me the internet's done us a favour.
He's gone.
This week, Simon has done Leicester City away 3-0 Boxing Day 2022. So am I going to get caught in a sort of time vortex, a bit like Sam Beckett in Quantum Leap, whereby every week one of you brings that game up?
Well, it might become a thing now.
So, so I mean,
I've done more research on it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you had a photo and everything. We cannot fault that. You just didn't do research into your own show, which you were on last week when Hutch brought that up. And it's kind of...
I feel disappointed in myself.
It's kind of his fault for getting it wrong last week, but some might say you're a bit of a cotton-headed ninny muggins.
Yeah. And fair enough, was it? Yeah. And to be fair, that is my favourite Christmas song as well, was it? So
Driving
home
for Christmas.
And God bless Christmas.
You do it too much?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I am normally just driving home for Christmas. Yeah, that's normally what's happening. Yeah.
And Chris Rea passing away this week, of course. Who was North East now, was from Middlesbrough. So R.I.P. to him. My Boxing Day game then, which I'm going to go with it. It's actually on this day of the week, which is this day of the month, rather, which is it the 28th or something?
It is 28th today, yeah.
Thank you. And it's 30 years ago today. Sorry, it's 29 years ago. 1996. Newcastle hammering Tottenham Hotspur. Kevin Keegan as manager. Do you guys know what the score was? I've
7-1.
got a lot of trivia.
Oh, he's paused again.
He's gone again.
Are you back?
I've gone, have I?
Yeah, you're back now.
Sorry. So, yeah, it was 7-1. You're quite right.
Yeah.
So the scorers, 3 people scored a brace. So we had 3 people scoring twice. and one person got 1. Do you know who they were?
Shearer,
Shearer got 2.
Ferdinand.
Ferdinand got 2.
I want to say Beardsley.
No.
Oh,
So
Rob Lee.
Rob Lee got 2. You look like you're looking away at something where you're
I'm not.
hastily
There's
researching, but you
nothing
couldn't
here.
spell that. And then,
Definitely
and
no.
I'll give you a clue. The scorer of the 7th goal, although it was actually the 5th on the day, was an all-time favourite of mine, coming up from centre half.
Darren Peacock.
No.
Well, Philippe Albert then. Yeah.
Philippe Albert, yes. Right. And I'm going to tell you what, right? That was so close to the end of Kevin Keegan's reign. He took over in February 1992 and resigned in January 1997. In that time, do you know how many times they put a 7-1 scoreline on people?
Are we just going to guess, or are you just going to tell us?
I'll tell you, that was the 4th.
Wow.
And, can you name any of the other teams apart from Tottenham?
No.
There was a very famous one last year, the championship promotion season. The first time they hit 7-1 was against. See if anyone's in there.
See if anybody from chat gets it.
It was against. That's it from Choppy. It was and from Orcat and Bruno. It was against Leicester. Hat trick for Andy Cole and David Kelly, and people still sing the song from that day. David Kelly, he scored a hat trick on the telly, and the Andy Cole version, which is more famous. And the second time they hit a 7-1, right, is just so foreign in current football. So, and a lot of people might not remember this one. In the second round of the League Cup, which all teams had to enter, whether you're in Europe or not, they got Notts County, and they won the home leg 4-1, right? With the full first team that played every week in the Premier League. They went away to, where did Notts County play? Meadow Lane? Someone correct me if I'm wrong. And they went to the away leg and they won 7-1 with the full first team that play every week in the Premier League. So they were playing a lower league opposition in the second round of the League Cup, and they were 4-1 up. Andy Cole scored a hat-trick in that game as well. Peter Beardsley scored, and I think Rob Lee scored as well. And so they had the full first team out. And if you think now, the way that squads are treated and rotated and stuff like that, and then they just played twice a week and didn't care. And the pitches were like rice puddings as well. So, hey, my message to modern footballers is toughen up. And the other time they won 7-1 was against Swindon Town in Swindon's loan season in the Premier League. So, thank you, Tommy's confirming Meadow Lane is right. So, 4 times they recorded a 7-1 scoreline. I don't know if they've ever won a game 7-1 at any other time. But, as I say, that was one of the last games before Kevin Keegan left. And maybe that's a bit of alignment, because something that I strongly believe about the whole Eddie Howe situation is it can lead to absolute chaos if you act mid-season without a succession plan. And that's a big part of the reason. Other than the fact I think he's got a lot of credit in the bank and we've still got a lot to play for, that is part of the reason why I think he needs at least to let the competitive side of this season run its course. Because we brought Kenny Dalglish in, which seemed like a great appointment. He got his second, he got his Champions League. The team just fell apart the following season. So I would prefer to see this season work out. And another thing that I said a lot, I was a season ticket holder throughout that Keegan era. It was brilliant. But my first-hand evidence is last season was better. Winning a trophy, going straight into the Champions League, winning at places like Old Trafford and Tottenham and looking unbeatable on our day. That was, for me, better than the Keegan era. The trophy's the clincher. And people may disagree, but as I say, I was at them both. Choppy saying Andy Cole didn't score on the 7-1 v Swindon. That's right, he didn't. He was playing, and I think the goals got well spread around, but that was quite a rarity that he didn't notch in that one because he was scoring pretty much every week. It was in his record-breaking season. So, again, going back to the managerial situation there, I think you need to think about it a little bit more. And as we've said, see how things go over the next month or so. We've got like a nice full stop on that, haven't we? Because we'll be in Paris around about this time next month, I think.
Yep. Anybody got a ticket? Please let me know.
Yeah. So you're on the scrounge a bit, aren't you? So
I am on the scrounge, yeah.
Do you want to outline what's happened there?
Yeah, so Jamie, another friend of ours, are on a decent amount of points, so got straight in. Hutch and I are on similar loyalty points, and Hutch was lucky enough to get in via the ballot, but I have not got in via the ballot, even though I have accommodation, transport, and negotiations with wife completed. I'm on the beg for a ticket prior to the match actually happening. So, yeah, I've contacted the club, trying to get on any list that I can. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. But otherwise, I'll be in some Parisian cafe trying to keep my head down and attached to a mobile phone with the match on while you boys are cheering lads on in the ground.
I'm trying to think of someone who looks less French than you.
How
If you have to blend in
dare you.
incognito.
I'm well European. Don't you worry about that.
So yeah,
Just not French.
I think as we said earlier, there's so much will be dictated about that game by the round of matches beforehand, won't it?
Yeah.
What we have to play for, what PSG have to play for, and I think you might get people change their mind. So as I say, my advice to you is just keep on everyone, and tickets will hopefully emerge. And
Cheers.
if not, well, we'll send you a photo from in the ground.
Yeah, great. Cheers, Captain Bruno, by the way. And was it? Yeah, cheers for that. Yeah, we were all surprised. Don't you worry about that.
So just say I'm bringing that comment up. Simon married. Well done. I hope Wazza's married to someone can come and help pick him up because he's probably just fell off his chair, as have most people. Who can say anyway?
Yeah.
But yeah, you did very well, and someday I hope those drugs never wear off. No, seriously, a great day, your wedding. We beat Aston Villa 2-1.
Yeah,
that's true, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
I wasn't there. I was at the wedding, but anyway,
we were still outside with our phones out watching it.
Yeah, I think Ben Arthur scored as well. Fucking love Ben Arthur. Anyway,
you were still outside with us, weren't you?
It was the pre-drinks. It was fine.
Priest running around with his book under his arm. Yeah, right. The week ahead, then. So we've touched a little bit already on the whole month ahead, but next up we're away at Burnley, and this feels like a deja vu conversation because it's mental. Because we played them about I want to say 3 weeks ago or something at home. It's just a bit of a quirk of the fixture list. But before that game, we were seeing the same here, where it's a bit of a no-win situation because we absolutely should beat them, and anything else will feel like a complete underachievement, won't it? There's no battling draws here. What's your predictions, Simon?
2-0 us. Like you say, I don't think we can. I don't think we'll ship any against them, and hopefully we just fight our way through it. It won't be pretty, but we'll win.
Yeah. Hutch?
I want to say a draw.
Oh.
Because we should have stuffed them at home, and we didn't. I mean, we beat them 2-1. But they were down to 10 men, and they cursed us again at the last minute goal. And I genuinely don't think if that team turns up and plays exactly the same that they played against Man United or against Sunderland or against whoever it was, West Ham, Brentford, we won't beat them. But we should beat them. But if they don't turn up and actually play, we won't.
Burnley will be looking at this as a game that they can kick on from, won't they? They'll be looking at it as a winnable match. I'm annoyed about this one as well. I was at Turf Moor last time we played there, which was a balmy Saturday afternoon towards the end of the season before last, and it was brilliant. I see you've looked at Choppy's comment there that I look like Steve Bruce. I normally get Eddie Howe actually, but like I'm longing for the days of being compared to Eddie Howe now. With that coming up there, yeah. Well, I have eaten quite a lot over Christmas, but I didn't think it was quite that much. How's the turkey? Did you say? So yeah, I would have quite liked. Oh, can you not take screen dump? But yeah, Burnley's a great little trip. Friendly locals, great pubs, grounds walking distance, and again, it's just an inaccessible time of the year. And I'm going to get my camera now.
I was really liking what Captain Bruno as well. So I don't know.
If anyone wants my legitimate football doppelganger, it is John Onorisa, who used to play for Liverpool. That's like no argument on that one. Although there is a kid called Schmidt that we're looking to sign next month, who looks outrageously like my son and has a similar last name to me, and you know, I'm looking forward to that one getting regurgitated every week if we do sign him. But I'll put up with it because apparently he's really good. Anyway, we're playing Burnley. I think we'll beat Burnley unconvincingly, but I do fear that anything could happen. And then after that, we've got Crystal Palace. So Crystal Palace are in a little bit of a downturn as well. Now, we are normally on 7:30 on Sunday night, but I don't know if we'll get away from that match in time because it's 3:00 on a Sunday. I think are Palace playing in the Conference League or something like that? Probably not, are they? If there's Premier League midweek. But yeah, that's 3:00 on Sunday, so we'll maybe be a Monday show next week. Was I say is, Hutch, have a cough, man. You sound like you've just swallowed a box of cornflakes, mate. So we're all getting it here. But Hutch, like we've said this a lot. I even said in my best man speech at your wedding, Hutch, that you sound a little bit like a cross between Kenny from South Park and one of those Dyson hand dryers. And even though we tried to alter the sound a little bit, you still sound like Darth Vader with his head in a washing machine.
And that's why we started a podcast.
Yeah. Great audio, great looking guys. You know, we've got people falling off the chairs. One of us is married, and another one getting compared to a 6-year-old fat man with a broken face. If we've just got a couple of minutes left, if anyone wants to put anything about Hutch's appearance in the I'll be most welcome. But yeah, what do you think? Crystal Palace next week then, just going in ahead of that, do you feel confident about that one? They are dropping a bit since Glasner.
They've just lost Spurs as well. Yeah.
Losing to Tottenham, I mean, that's bad.
That is bad. So yeah, I think that they're probably hopefully their form's dipped by now, and they're an opportunity more than a problem. So, and it's part of what we were saying earlier in the pod that this whole month is an opportunity now, isn't it? So win at Burnley and take some good form into them, hopefully get a result.
Maybe put a cheeky bid into Unsettled Gay just before we play them as well.
Well, I was saying Adam Wharton as well. I think Adam Wharton would be a great purchase for us. I think he can do everything in centre mid.
But we'd have to quite literally spend the entire Alex Isak money on Adam Wharton to get him.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, that's far too much of a compliment from Choppy, by the way.
That Hutch looks like Peter Cech.
Yeah.
Is that pre-broken fist or after broken fist?
You look like someone's kicked you in. Yeah, actually, a lot of the way you handle life is as if you've had a bad head injury, isn't it? I like the decision making.
Oh dear. Okay. Palace, Hutch.
Palace, yeah. Again, it's at home. I think I would like to say that we'll win, but chances are they are a team that will probably frustrate us. So I want to say another draw because they'll probably score in like the 97th minute of 4 minutes added on.
I mean, that sounds entirely feasible when you put it like that. But I think what I would say is it's got to be 6 points this week. Otherwise, the pressure starts growing really strongly on Howe. And then I already think this season is heavily dependent on the cups. I think somebody said earlier it shouldn't be, but I think that's it. We can rescue this season by winning one of the cups and complementing that with a decent run in the Champions League and trying to make the Premier League position respectable. But someone's put there, Bournemouth will beat us and City will beat us, and you can see that the way things are at the moment. So we need to try and flip the whole narrative, don't we? And that starts with 6 points this week. Looks like Frank Spencer. Betty, says Irish Assassin there, right? Now, people are going to think I'm making this up, but Hutch once turned up at the match wearing a beret. And when I took it off him and flung it down the stairs, the woman sat in front of us called me a bully.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So,
the times we've had.
yeah. Okay. I think we'll leave it at that then, unless anyone's got anything else. Hutch, do you want to do that impression?
I don't know. No, I don't. Ooh, Betty.
No, never watched some
Jesus.
others who haven't. Yeah, never watched it.
I haven't. In fact, I had to look it up, and yeah, to be fair, I do look a bit like.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I think you've taken down the production values of this program considerably in the last couple of minutes, and that takes some.
Says the guy who dropped off twice.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, that's not my fault, is it?
Well, get your kids under control.
That's
Get them off the Xbox.
Right. Anyway, we'll be back after the Palace game in some way, shape, or form. Although we may have a diminishing audience, A, because and B, because people just can't take much about Newcastle United. Maybe we'll do a more comparison-heavy show next week where we hardly talk about the two disappointing draws and talk about when things were nicer. So
some others do have them with Quantum Leap, and everyone will jump on.
Yeah. We just need to cover Leicester 3-0 on Boxing Day 2022 then as well. Yeah.
Next week's show will be all over the place if we need to avoid another pair of horrible results, because it's early in the new year and mental health's quite important. It's seriously a time of year when people start feeling a bit down, and like it's like that meme, innit? Sort of having a bad day, are you? And then the Newcastle badge comes along and says, "Not bad enough, let me get involved." So we'll try and be a bit of a counter of that, eh? Right then. Any final words? Any final impressions?
Nope.
Simon's got to go to administer his wife's latest before she wakes up and realises. And Hutch has got to go because the cat's got a whoop day in his shoes. So until next time, whenever that is, it'll be on around about whatever day this is next week or thereabouts, as we get into the jolly business of the new year. Happy New Year to you guys. I will catch you in 2026. And when it comes, Happy New Year, everybody out there. It has been emotional.
Cheers, lads. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, all. Yeah. Everyone in the chat as well.
Yeah, Happy New Year, guys.